Notice time is 6:01 p.m. The regular city council meeting agenda notice is hereby given that above call meeting of the governing body of the city of Balcones Heights, Texas will be held on Monday, August 4th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the Justice Center located at 3300 Hillcrest Drive, Balcones Heights, Texas 78201. To consider and act upon any lawful subject which may come before said meeting, including among others, the following items to be discussed and acted upon. We're going to call to order and recording of a quorum. We do have a quorum present. There is one member missing. And for the record, Mr. Sellers did not advise us whether he was going to be making the meeting or that he would be absent from the meeting. I'd like to place that into the record that the notice was given to the council and the governing body. So we now have the invocation and pledges of allegiance to the U.S. and Texas flag. Mayor Pro Temp Burton will lead in that invocation.
Father, we're gathered here today on judgment to make lives of those committed to our charge. Please give us wisdom and guide our decisions may be fair, just, and merciful.
Amen. To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Councilman Burton. So we're going to have a public comment period at this time. Citizens who have filled out a registration form prior to the start of the meeting may speak on any subject, any topic they wish to bring to the attention of the governing body, so long as that topic is not on the agenda for this meeting. During the citizens to be heard section, no council action may take place and no council discussion or response is required to the speaker. Citizens who wish to speak on a specific agenda item when that item is called for discussion must first fill out a registration form prior to the start of the meeting indicating which agenda item they wish to address. And I'll go ahead and state for the record again that any disruptive behavior, including shouting, derogatory remarks, statements, or comments may be ruled out of order by the presiding officer. Continuation of this type of behavior could result in the request by the presiding officer that the individual leave the meeting, and if refused, an order of removal. On top of that, last meeting, I spelled out a penal code section on impeding a meeting where it is consistently being done, and the individuals just want to do that consistently. A Class B misdemeanor of a criminal charge will then be filed against that individual for impeding a public and official meeting. So all disclosure on that. So we will go ahead now and move to the, do we have any public comments?
Yes, sir. We got one, Mr. Lamar Gillian. for
Okay,
Agenda items 2 and 3.
okay, go right ahead. Yeah, the agenda items, and on the agenda items, we agreed, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Hernandez, since it was your thing, it will be done during the citizens to be heard, correct?
Be done first.
Yeah, so it'll be done either citizens to be heard first, whatever he wants to say, or he can also do it right now and address those items. So go ahead, Mr. Gillian, address your items. No, sir. An item, ask me, I'm the presiding chair. Okay? So the item was ruled by the council, the governing body, that is the procedure that we're going to take. So if you'd like to take time to discuss those items that you placed on the agenda for that particular item 2 and 3 or whatever it may be, now's the time to do it. Okay? We're giving you opportunities, so we're not stopping you from saying.
May I
Yes, go
offer
right ahead.
clarification? So,
Mr.
Mr. Gillian, to make sure that our meetings flow smoothly, they're going to be done right up front. So if there's not a non-agenda item, now it's time for the agenda items. If you signed up for 2, you have a total of 6 minutes and you have the floor. There's no opportunity to defer and come back later. So we're just going to move through things more smoothly. And so you have your 6 minutes, sir. Okay.
Okay, thank you. So you declined to speak on the items? No, sir, I just needed clarification. Okay, so Mr. Marroquin, make a note, please, that he has declined to speak on those items. Thank you, sir, very much. So now we'll have any presentations, which we do not have any right now at all, do we? From staff, anyone? Okay, we'll move into the consent agenda items. There are none. We'll move into the business items. So what we will do is we will move the executive session up to number 1, and then we will take it from there to the budget workshop. And we will also put in the discussion and possible action. So item number 2 and item number 7 will be taken in an executive session right now. So the time is, because we have a council member that won't be able to stay for the executive session later on. So the time is 6:07 p.m. We're closing the open session, and we're now moving into the closed session of executive session. We're going to discuss item number 7, discussion pursuant to 551.071, consultation with attorney, and 551.074, personnel matters regarding discussion of the following: city administrator position and department director position. So if we can go ahead and remove the public, or the public can please excuse us while we conduct our executive session. I've already noted the time, you got it noted. And the only ones that will be in the executive session will be Roy and the city council. Mr. Martinez. The time is 7:18 p.m. We have now returned back from executive session. And discussion pursuant to 551, consultation with attorney, and 551.074, personnel matters regarding discussion of the following: city administrative position. So do we have a motion on the floor from the instruction? Okay, you have a second to that motion?
I second.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I did not have my mic on. So do I need to restate that?
As long as it makes it in the minute.
Move to make a motion to have city attorney negotiate salary contract with applicant for city manager position
Discuss.
as directed in executive session.
Second.
Let's go ahead and call the vote. Ms. Weaver?
Aye.
Mr. Jefferson?
Aye.
Mr. Hernandez?
Aye.
Mr. Burton?
Aye.
For the record, the vote was 4-0. Mr. Sellers absent. And Ms. Weaver is going to excuse herself. She's not feeling very well right now, and so she will be leaving the council meeting at 7:20 p.m. Thank you, Ms. Weaver. Hope you feel better. All right, let's go ahead and move on now. Let's move to the business, and let's not kill too much time. Let's go ahead and move to item number 1, budget workshop number 3. Mr. Messi. Yes, sir.
Mayor, is there another executive session?
Yes, if we need to go into it for Tracy's item number.
Oh, okay.
Okay. On number 2. Okay, please proceed, Mr. Messi.
Sir, she calls the slides up. Okay, there we go. This wasn't in your packet, but it was in their last meeting. We're just going to go over this again real quickly. So for this year's budget, again, the focus on this year's budget was to switch more from capital to EDC focus. And so that's what we're looking at this year. The FY26 budget that we've presented so far is balanced. Revenue over and expenses are both the same amount. And there's a savings of over $200,000 in your general fund. Just to talk big picture budget here for a little bit. So for FY26 concerns for budget, there really is none. You've got a balanced budget. You've got $200,000 of savings in your general fund. So was probably one of the most unique and easiest budget cycles that I've ever seen. Payrolls down for the second straight year, and such a massive savings here. So it's a pretty good budget. I would say that if you had been on council for 7 or 8 terms by now, you would say, why are we even here? Let's just vote on this and let's go home, because this is great. Next year, we have some FY 27, we have some budget concerns, and that's pretty much the bond payment for the Hillcrest debt. We're well on our way with this savings, plus we're going to pay off the fire truck in FY 26. So just a slight budget concern there is how we're going to make that payment, but that's manageable and easy enough. Long-term concerns, of course, is really the city's aging infrastructure and how that relates to shrinking revenues for the city. Of course, the remedy to that is EDC. You guys have hit that hard already and continue to make good strides for that. And that's about all you can do with that anyway. The other long-term concern we have, of course, is the WODA loan payment. That's going to continue as is for a while. It's a concern. It's not a crisis. We can manage that. We can pay it. We have the ability to refinance it if necessary. And ultimately, again, you're doing EDC. You're doing what you need to do on EDC to address that. Okay. So is there a budget crisis per se? No, I'm not saying I've heard that, but is this a crisis? No, every year has its own budget concerns. And actually this year is looking pretty good. Yeah, go ahead. Next slide, just to get through these real fast. So your general fund expenses, again, you're balanced. And there's that $200,000 of savings there on the contingency line. And that came from, paying off the Vivian Lane tax note. There's $76,000 of that in there. What we had in contingency last year carries over as well. And of course, the payroll savings that we've had. And like I said, that'll grow next year by another 116,000 when we finish paying off the fire truck. Our debt for Hillcrest will probably be around 350, maybe 400,000, depending on what the amount is. And so we're well on the way to managing that. Again, personnel cost, $88,000 of savings this year. We've got a lot of slides covering payroll tonight, so I'll just kind of gloss by this for now. Next slide, yeah. And here's the Hillcrest timeline debt. So that final Vivian Street project, about 75,000 went into savings this year. The fire truck next year for 116,000 will go into savings, and approximately $321,000 repayment for a $4 million bond, 400,000 for about a $5 million bond. We'll take a look at that next year and see how we can do with the numbers. That'll help us determine what we can go out with as far as debt. Your other major fund is your crime control district. Of course, that's balanced as well with a healthy 3-month fund balance. We talked about capital fund, how the capital fund will show large surpluses one year and large deficits the next. Last year we had a surplus. This year we have a large deficit due to the street projects that are coming up, Crestview 3 and Hillcrest. On your capital budget this year, we're proposing $120,000 for 2 PD vehicles. Further discussion with the police department is they can do with 1 vehicle. That's fine. The vehicles that had their motors replaced were newer models, and so we're looking to replace the older models, not them.
Mr. Messick, if I may interrupt.
Yes, sir.
On that Senate, just hold it. Mr. Burton had a question for you.
Sure.
Yes, I would like to see that, no new vehicles for this 26 budget cycle. Seeing how we got the other ones replaced, we've got a new CID. We handed down a perfectly good laser down, and still budget the monies. Throw that money into contingency, or
Give them a mandate, put it on the agenda.
Okay.
And give them an order.
Yeah. So.
I'm asking them.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I think you brought it up a few times.
Yeah,
This is like the second or third time. Why are we even talking about it? I thought we were gonna do
what you
Yeah,
said.
and so to put it on
No.
the agenda and vote so to get it
I
done.
don't agree.
Okay.
I think first that we should have a report on the vehicles to see, because we don't know the condition of those vehicles. So whoever's in charge of that, he should give us a report and then we should make a decision.
We've asked for that gentleman to come in.
Yeah, and so Mr. Timmons normally would have that by now. He's really good about this, but he's had some medical issues and he's been in training. And so we will have that for you for sure. But I will say there's no contingency in the capital fund. It's just there to be spent as needed. And so by not buying a vehicle, you're not saving any money. I mean, that's what it was there for. Yeah, you'll save some money that you didn't spend it, but this was allotted anyway. And also,
I guess
Yeah.
what I'm asking is, unless we fry a vehicle, don't go buying 2 new vehicles or 1 new vehicle. If we need to buy a vehicle.
yeah, and usually, yeah, and that's what, and Mr. Burton, that's why it's on a recurring replacement schedule, because 4 or 5 years after we've had that vehicle, it's fried, it's ready to be replaced. And so over the years, we've learned that
There's some back and forth. And Councilman Burton, my suggestion is put it on the agenda. You are the policymaker, make the rule,
Thank you,
and then get him to follow it.
thank you.
if you want it stricken, it's stricken.
Continue to ask him whatever you want. I mean, you still have the floor. But I just want to make sure, just remember, you are the policymaker. So you set the rule and you give him his marching orders. You know, that's basically the way it works. You let him know what you want to do.
Well,
and
I've made clear what I want to do.
then get it done and put it on the agenda. So it gets done.
Mary, it doesn't need to be on the agenda. If you want it off, we'll take it off. But the only thing that before you decide to do that,
Acting City Manager Markman, will you put that on for the next meeting?
There you go. Perfect. Make sure it gets to whomever it needs to go to.
There.
That
I've got it. It already got to me. It's been stricken.
It's a voting item on the agenda.
Mr. Marroquin, could you also request a report so that we can all have that before we make that decision?
So as part of that, we can put 2 items on the agenda, or 1 item with Mr. Mr. Hernandez and Mr. Burton to be discussed and make it a dual item. You want research done and provided to the council
Mr. Timmons.
before the vote is taken so it can be presented? Okay, so get supporting documentation.
Okay.
It'll be provided so that council can make an informed decision when that item is placed on the agenda and it's going to be voted to give instructions as to what to do.
That's for Mr. Hernandez and
And
for
Mr.
Mr.
Burton.
Burton, no
Correct.
new vehicles purchased.
Right,
Police vehicle.
and go ahead.
If you can ask Mr. Timmons to get us that report like as soon as possible. I know he's ill, but whenever he's back in, even if it's a week or so before the council meeting, I mean, the more time we have with the report, the better,
Okay,
right?
there you go. That's the process, using the process to work. Perfect. Okay, Mr. Messi, go ahead and continue.
Wait,
Well, let's wait, hold it down. Let's let Mr. Messick finish what he's doing and just continue presenting, Mr. Messick.
Okay. So you can put that on the agenda if you wish, but this is the budget workshop. If you tell me to strike it, it's stricken if that's what you want. But if you feel the need to vote it, that's fine. It's your prerogative. But the only thing I was trying to say is that when you push the purchase of these vehicles back, you know what you're getting 3 or 4 years down the road, right? All of a sudden now you've got to make that up because they're all going to start crashing. And so at some point, yeah, you're saving now. To what extent? I mean, we're saving, okay, so we're saving, but 3 or 4 years down the road, now you've got more vehicles to replace. And that's what we found historically. That's the reason why it's on recurring. Next slide, please.
So, Mr. Messick, just so you understand
Back one
what
slide.
Mr. Burton's point on this is,
Yes, sir.
is he has noted that the vehicles have been abused. If they were taken care of, they would last longer, but they're being abused. And you're going to beg to differ with that, but the evidence is there.
No, I'm going to say if they're being abused, then don't we need to replace them if they've been abused?
If
But-
they were
but-
very well taken care of, they would last longer.
Okay,
And so his point is we wouldn't have to be replacing engines. We wouldn't have to be replacing brakes or anything like that if the vehicles were taken care of by the department. Okay, so
Mr. Mayor,
yes,
I'm kind of in agreement with Mr. Messick here. I'm going to tell you why. Even if they are being abused, we still have to replace them. That's more of an issue of a management from the chief of
Right.
police. That's not something that the council, if you say we're not going to buy you vehicles because you're abusing them,
no, I'm not saying
then
that.
then we're going to be in a bad situation where we're going to have no vehicles and then we're going to have to spend a lot of money in 1 year. So if they're on a reoccurring schedule, I that makes more sense to me.
Right. And I'm not advocating for or against that. I'm trying to explain Mr. Burton's position. That's all it was.
I was merely saying that, in this budget cycle, we've got two brand new vehicles basically because they put new motors and transmissions in them. And you advocate for idle hours. You're not advocating for anything else but the idle hours. Well, I get that. The idle hours do suck on them, the life of the expectancy of the vehicle. But instead of buying two new vehicles, we've just bought two new motors, transmissions, and they're fairly brand new vehicles. Let's just skip a cycle. That was just only, we've got, for all practical purposes, new vehicles. They're new motors and stuff. That's all I was asking.
Thanks for clarifying that for both of us and the council. Message, go right.
Likewise, we have $20,000 for fire station renovations. You've all seen the fire station. Do you wish to keep this item?
What's that?
The $20,000 that we're proposing for the fire station renovations next year in the capital fund, do you wish to keep this item? So special revenues fund, and again, the point of all of this is because we know that there is a $970-some thousand deficit in the overall budget. And so what we're showing here is that most of our funds, of course, are balanced and or have a surplus, especially our proprietary funds. Our two deficit funds are the EDC fund, of course, and the capital fund. Capital fund, you understand, it fluctuates year to year. And in the EDC fund, until we start getting revenues coming in, then we're always going to show at least $437,000 some dollars of deficit in the overall budget every year. But again, your focus should be on your cap or on your general fund, because that's where the majority of your expenses are and the majority of your revenue is, and that's your most important fund. And it's looking pretty good. But yeah, there's always going to be a deficit here. Again, you guys are doing a great job of focusing hard and heavy on EDC, and that's the long-term solution for that. Of course, we know it's not going to come anytime soon, but it's being worked. Your proprietary funds, sewer and stormwater, pretty good expense or surplus here. This is the sewer fund surplus of 71,000. A lot of money has been allocated to sewer repairs that hopefully won't take place, and so that hopefully that surplus will continue to grow. Ultimately, we'd like to see $1 million fund balance there in the sewer fund. And same for the stormwater, we're just growing that. Hopefully we'll see a surplus of $76,000 or more next year. So overall, our budget deficit, total budget deficit would look like this. So we have other funds that have $4,000 of surplus. Those are some of the smaller special revenue funds, $147,000 in your enterprise funds, and then your deficits. Of course, the capital fund, $662,000 this year. Economic Development Corporation deficit of $437,000 probably every year going forward, and that's your $948,000 total budget deficit. Looking at the total budget, but again, your focus really should be on your general fund. Okay, so at the last budget cycle, Mr. Ebersol, and in a meeting with him, wanted to know what it would cost if we were to cut total budget expenses by 25%. And so I've calculated that for you. So we have 9.67 million of expenses. 25% of that would be a $2.4 million expense, or $2.41 million cut. So to obtain a $2.4 million cut and achieve a 25% savings, I would need to eliminate public safety, 17 positions, one total shift of the fire department consisting of one captain, one lieutenant, and two firefighters, saving $415,000. I would need to eliminate one shift of the police department. That would be one sergeant, two officers for a $600,000 savings. I would have to outsource dispatch in its entirety. That would be a $426,000 savings. I would have to stop all purchases, street projects, road reconstructions in the capital fund. That would save us $662,000. And then I would have to default on the loan with the Economic Development Corporation. That would save us $437,000 and achieve the $2.5 million of savings, or the 25% of the slashing the budget as Mr. Eversole requested. Any questions on that?
You can just speak up a little bit clearer. We can barely hear.
Sorry, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. We'll bring up the other slides. And so a lot of information was sent out to you concerning payroll, accruals and whatnot. And so we want to go through that. Normally at this budget cycle or at this budget meeting, we would be talking tax numbers at this point, but the county was late in getting those out. And so I think I might want to recommend another special meeting if the mayor is okay with that for next week so that we can go over the tax. But that's your prerogative. But we do need to look at that and all the tax figures and whatnot. And I'll be farming that out anyway to you in an email here probably tomorrow.
Would it be possible to get like a printed copy? Because the computer that I have from the city, the screen is so poor and I can't see it.
A printed copy of what, sir?
Of like whenever you put the budget out and stuff, or anything like we're gonna have a session. I'd like to get it in print because I get the email, but I can't read it.
Okay. Yeah. And so what we did this time, last Friday, we said, hey, it's here in your basket. If you want it, if you want the hard copy, come and get it. Shoot, if you want us to deliver it to your house, we can do that too.
Oh,
But,
I didn't get that message. Was that an email or?
Yes, sir. Uh-huh. And so, yeah, if you want it, yeah, just let me know and we'll make sure you get a hard copy of it.
Okay.
But it's also in your Dropbox, if you can access your Dropbox
I don't have a drop.
and print it out. Yeah, everybody should have access to the Dropbox.
I don't have one, sir.
Sorry about that. But yeah, and then so you could print it out there as well if you wanted, or you can just say, hey, bring me a copy and we'll run it over to
You
you.
don't have to deliver one to my house. I'll be glad to pick one up. It's just,
Whatever. I mean, we want to make sure you got the information that you need and that you can see it and ask intelligent questions about it for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going into. Okay, so all this was farmed out to you as well. And what we have here is how we come across our payroll expense number for the year or for next year's budget. We typically show you this during the budget cycle every year. So for this year's budget, we're still running with the estimates of a 2.4% COLA for everyone. We're still looking at a 10% increase in healthcare. We're pretty sure we're going to get lower numbers than that, but we won't know that until August. So there's going to be a savings there. It's just a matter of how much. So what we do, I have a spreadsheet. I start with the base salary. Certain people by law have to be paid certain things. You'll see that on the next slide with like the fire department, they get certain pays. Police officers, they get certification pay and whatnot. So all that stuff is added in. We have language and auto pay there for people that speak Spanish language and pass the test. They get $520 a year. And then, so that's your total gross salary for yeah, and so that's your total gross salary for each line there. And then we add into city contributions, SSI, I believe is 7.65%. The employee and the city pay that. TMRS contribution, 7% is taken out of the employee's paycheck. City matches at about 11%. Workers' compensation is included. What else we got up there? Yeah, so the medical services that are provided, we only offer healthcare choices to the employee. Anything that they want for their family, they have to pay for. We have healthcare, dental, vision, disability, EAP, and life insurance that the city offers, a typical package that most cities offer. And from that, you get your total city contributions and your total city salary costs. Okay, so you add all that up and you get your 5.33 million. I don't think it's on this slide, but under it is the comparison of what it was last year, and it shows. Yeah, I think it shows that line on there where it's a certain percentage down from last year, so about 88,000. Sorry, about $88,000. Okay, now it's good to. But let's go back. Let me stop it there and ask questions and also point out. Can you go back one more slide, please? So what you see in the first column here, because this has been asked, and so let me address that. Why does that say officer, sergeant? Why isn't there a name on there? Well, there's a couple of reasons why that is. Number one is that it's a big spreadsheet. If I put names on there, it's going to be hard to read that, right? It's just more columns on there. But also that's a way of not personalizing when we have these budget discussions. For example, say, we need to cut a position. Okay, well, let's cut this position. If there's a name there, you can say, oh, no, not John Doe. We love John Doe. Let's not do that. And you don't make the decision maybe that you should have. Or likewise, maybe there's a name on there, there's somebody that you don't like, and you say, yeah, let's get rid of that person. So all that protects us. We're dealing with positions here. It's nothing personal. So that's why there's no names on it. Okay, does that make sense?
Nothing personal, but I don't think that I asked for the names on there. I think it's that we're the council and that we should get to see that.
So,
I wrote a FOIA about that. Because I want to see who it is. If I'm going to be in charge of making a decision, I want to see what's going on.
we'll discuss that in executive session.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. Okay, this comes from your budget too. This is from last year. It's been updated with this year's numbers on it. It just comes from the pay scale. Basically, we just say, okay, this is our starting salaries for the positions. And here's the steps that you would normally would receive. Again, it's based on an assumption of a 2.4% COLA. Whatever it is in November is what they'll actually get. Off to the right there, you can see the step schedule. Typically, you're going to get a step every year for the first 3 years. And then after that, the steps start skipping every other year. And then it starts skipping every third year. And so over time, what you basically get is 10 steps over a 20-year period. Each step is a 2% increase. So 20% increase over the career, over a 20-year career there. Of course, with inflation would go up 40% during that time period. But the steps, they still keep us within market. That and the COLAs help keep us pretty close to the market for the most part.
What'd you say was the estimated COLA, Mr. Messick?
It's at 2.4. That's what we've budgeted. Right now it's 2.2, but it jumps around. Every month you get a rumor it's going to go up or it's going to go down. But November, it's in November in accordance with the collective bargain agreements contract. Whatever Social Security passes in November for the next upcoming calendar year, that's what we have to go by. And again, this COLA doesn't kick off 1 October. We save a little money here. It actually kicks off in January. So that's when the COLA is applied.
Go ahead and proceed.
Also from your budget book, here's the personnel complement for FY26. Can you scroll down a little bit to see the bottom there? Ms. Yvonne, yeah. And so there's the historical full-time equivalents for the city. Like you said, we really got busy in 23. Addressing the loss of the red light cameras. So we've decreased personnel by 3 positions over the last 3 years there. I'm sorry.
Before you move on, going back to the salary schedule that you just showed us, is that a new schedule or
Can you go
this?
back 2 slides, please?
Yes, that
Okay.
schedule right there. Is this something new that you worked on or this has already been in place?
Yes, sir. This has already been in place. It's been in every budget
That's
to some degree.
all I want to know.
Yes, sir. Yes. Okay. So for salaries, we also handed out the most recent salary survey. The reason for this is that every 3 years with a collective bargaining agreement, we're required to do a salary survey. And so since they could reopen it this year, we went ahead in January and did a salary survey of 20 cities. And so salary surveys kind of get a bad rap. Everybody thinks that, hey, we use these to justify pay increases or whatever, but salary surveys are actually good management tools to hold down costs. And so and the way that works is that, hey, we need a human resources generalist on staff. Well, what do we pay that? Well, if you don't have a salary survey, if you don't have empirical evidence, you don't know. You might pay 75,000. Well, the salary survey says, no, you should pay around 60,000. So in that essence, it helps us hold the line on costs. It also gives us a difference. What does it look like compared to other cities? And so what we've done here was all the positions that we have, we've compared them to the market average of the 20 cities. So city manager is, but that's a contract. And so I'll skip over that. Next page.
I mean, how many, you said 20 cities you survey. Can we ever get a list of the cities that you use to do that? Because, I mean, if one of the cities is Dallas, I mean,
No, they're all local area cities.
with like, we don't know what 20 cities are. And so your numbers you're referencing, I mean, they could be managing 500 people and we're managing 3 or 5 or 100, we're not managing.
They are appropriate, Mr. Eversole, and they're actually.
That's a great question for the executive session.
But a quick answer, this is mandated by contract. 10 of these cities are mandated by contract and the rest of them are just, it's Bear County because we just wanted to survey Bear County. New Braunfels did make the list, but otherwise it's all local area.
Would you be able to, I'm sorry.
You need to ask.
So these 20 cities, I'm looking in the responses column. That's how many responded out of the 20 cities responded back to you?
Correct.
So some only one city responded, some of them 16 or 18.
Yeah, so it's a matter of interpretation. You have to know the whole story of what that number means and why it's that way before you can make a decision, obviously. And obviously, we're more focused on the ones that have a lot of responses. The more responses, the more accurate the data, of course. Okay, so on this one, we see the community development director, they're down 23,000 or 22%, and that's by design. Typically, these people have degrees in planning and zoning and whatnot. Our position does not, and this person knew that when they took the job that there would be a pay cut for that. And should they get the education, it would be reconsidered. On the next page, the real concern, of course, is we're looking at public safety. That's the majority of our positions in payroll. We've seen some interesting movement over the last 3 years. It used to be the pecking order of things would be city administrator, then police chief, then fire chief, then finance director. But fire chiefs have been slowly climbing up the board. So over the last 3 years, the market has really placed a premium on fire chiefs more so than police chiefs. You can see the police chief is maintaining ground, but the fire chief is losing ground. But the real concern there is the big numbers there in your fire department for your fire captains and your fire lieutenants. Since the last salary survey, when they were even with market, they've come down quite a bit. And of course, there's obviously more of a demand in the market for that. Police are also are falling below market. And so it's always council's prerogative to address these kind of things. And I hearken it back to the vehicles. You can pay it now or you can pay it later. What the city typically does is every 3 years we make salary adjustments. And then for the next 3 years, salary expenses go down. Then we make salary adjustments again in the next 3 years. And it's a big increase. And then salaries kind of taper off. It's sort of like a sawtooth effect, And so that's what goes on with that, typically what goes on with our salaries. But then again, all that to point out the importance of the steps that we get and the COLA and how that keeps us somewhat competitive. Last slide here. The market average of all starting salaries that we have is 71,000. Air average is 66,000. We're in the bottom 25% percentile with our overall salaries. Then I was requested to show accruals. And so obviously there wasn't enough room on the spreadsheet to view it all with all those. So we shrunk it up a little bit. We left you with total city contributions, gross salary, total city contributions, total salary costs. And we threw in there the accruals for vacation and for sick accrued. Vacation accrued to this point, that's your first column. Vacation used this year, that's your next number going across the top. So for this person, for finance director, they've accrued 64 hours this year. They've used 44 hours of vacation. Their remaining vacation hours is 172. So what's not in there is what they started with before the vacation accruals. And so the vacation remaining is what you want to look at. That's how much we have on the books right now. By city policy, we're authorized to carry over 160 hours every year. So if you don't use it, you lose it. We knock it back down to 160 hours. And then you have your vacation value, simply your hourly amount from gross salary times the vacation days that are remaining. And the same for sick. You can figure that out. What the value of that would be. But so for this position, 64 started with sick use 16.5 with a remaining of 355. The maximum for sick accrued is 720 hours for staff and what, 1080 for the fire department. Because when they get sick for a day, it's 24 hours taken off of theirs. If I get sick, it's only 8 hours taken out. And so again, it's just taking your salary calculations and putting those vacation and sick hour accruals in there for you.
Go ahead, Mr. Bird.
So question, sick time, let's just use that as an example. Is there a max sick time? I mean, if you accrued 700 hours, you could take those 700 hours as sick time in one shot. You've accrued that much?
Theoretically, yes, but in reality, look, we're a busy city, and if somebody's that sick, I mean, honestly, by law, you have to give them FMLA that protects their job for 12 weeks. After that, if you can't come back, honestly, we got to replace you. And so no one's going to take 720 hours of sick leave in a row and get paid for it. No, we're going to replace you long before that. Yes, sir. You can, and that's sort of what we do with the collective bargaining agreement. There's 10 certain cities that have been deemed similar to us, and that's been in their contract forever. That those are the cities that we're going to look at. But my only retort to that would be is that the market is the market, and it's a global market now. And sometimes we advertise for jobs, we get inquiries from Dallas or Oklahoma, and so you're really in competition with more than just the local area. But yes, you can modify this to show whatever cities you want. But I would stick certainly with the collective bargaining agreement cities, those 10 cities, and what they are right offhand. I couldn't tell you all of them, but it was agreed upon by the council and by the Police Officers Association, and we've been using those ever since. Yeah, and so traditionally, why I mentioned that is because they've been tied, right? And so whatever the police get, the council, past councils have also looked at it and said, let's do that for the whole staff. And so limit it to those 10 cities. And so there's some okay paying and there's some lower paying cities in there. But yes, it's on a spreadsheet. It certainly is flexible. We can, whatever cities you want, we can make that happen.
Y'all chose the cities and the council approved them.
In the collective bargaining, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mhm, yes.
So that was done, that was the approval of the 20 cities was done by a previous council.
Okay, so this 20 cities, we're talking past contract negotiations now. That was regardless of what we surveyed, it was those 10 cities that we went by. Yes, sir, and those haven't changed. Yes.
Jimmy.
Can you redo the salary survey to reflect only those 10 cities?
We can, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, the purpose of this wasn't to say, let's do something about it. It was just to show that we have empirical evidence. We don't just make up numbers to offer a salary to somebody. We have to be able to point back to something and say, this is what the market is saying. And again, the market is an indication of talent, right? Do you want really smart people or do you want mall cops? You know, pick somewhere in between. What do you want? And so we know what to pay based on that. So.
That's it, continue.
I believe that's it, guys. Yeah, so this, and of course, at your discretion, yeah, you can go ahead and kill that. We do have, also what I need from you guys tonight is to approve a public hearing for September 22nd. That's our regular council meeting. We have to hold a public hearing on the budget and the tax rate. Yes, for that night, but I need your approval to go ahead and make that happen.
We'll move into that. Right now, what we're going to do is go into item number 2. If you're finished with that,
Yes, sir.
go to item number 2, and that's going to be held in executive session. So the time is 7:59 p.m. And we will now move from open session to executive session to discussion and possible action on item number 2 to improve financial transparency and oversight through departmental spending and receipt documentation policy. Item that's been placed by Mr. Ebersol. So we'll go ahead and move into executive session.
What's the,
Mr. Messick, you can remain.
just so we can know with the exception for that one?
The exception for that is consultation with city attorney regarding certain questions we may have in executive session for legal direction if we need so. And so we'll move into that now. 8:36 p.m. Time is 8:36 p.m. We now have come out of the executive session to discuss item number 2, discussion possible action to improve financial transparency and oversight through departmental spending and receipt documentation policy. No action was taken. So we now will move into item number 3, discussion and action to schedule a public hearing on the fiscal year 2026 proposed budget and proposed tax rate for Monday, September 22nd, 2025 at 6 p.m. at the Balcones Heights Justice Center. What say you, counsel?
I have a question.
Yes, go right ahead.
Floyd, were you requesting another one before this?
I would recommend or request, yes, that we have another budget meeting here probably next week to discuss the tax rates. But
Okay, so
otherwise,
we need to make movement on this first one first, and then upcoming events, we say we'll do a.
however,
part of the
you all
reason-
legally need to do that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, part of the reason to lock this public hearing in tonight is there's notice that's got to go out well in advance of what our normal notice is because it's tax and budget. So they need to know this date's locked in. And the additional budget meeting that Mr. Messick's suggesting, that's because we're just now getting tax rate information in. Which is
And
good.
Counselor,
I make a-
do we have
I move-
time? I'm sorry, do we have time to publish a meeting for next Monday or?
It's possible. We have a discussion between Mr. Enriquez and myself. We can probably schedule something. We'll check with the councils.
Yeah, because it would have to be posted by Friday, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
so
has to
there's
be posted
time.
By
Okay.
Friday, or
Would there
the
be
following.
action on it? Would there be action on that?
No, you have to.
It would
you have
still be
to-
a workshop.
It would be a workshop,
Right.
yes, sir.
So there's no action, so we could.
It would be the normal notice though of 72 hours. Still.
Okay,
Yes,
all right. Is everybody
Okay.
fine with that?
I
Do
move
we
to
have a
make
motion to the
motion.
floor?
I move to make a motion to schedule a public hearing for on fiscal year 2026 proposed budget, proposed tax rate for Monday, September 22nd, 2025 at 6 PM at the Balcones Heights Justice Center.
Okay, great. Do we have a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, let's vote. Mr. Eversol? Mr. Eversol? We're voting to schedule a public hearing for Monday, September 22nd, 2025 at 6 PM. We're not adopting anything. We're just scheduling that meeting in accordance to the rule. Okay? Okay, aye. Mr.
Aye.
Hernandez, aye. Mr. Burton?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Sellers is absent. Ms. Weaver is absent. The motion carries with 3 votes. Okay? So let's go ahead and, no announcements, comments by mayor and council members for anybody? Announcement by the city administrator, none. 6, agenda item requests by mayor and council member placed on future city agenda. You've already done that, right, Mr. Burton?
Okay.
Mr. Hernandez, you did that on your item with Mr. Burton's?
What was that now?
That was in reference to Mr. Burton's concern on the cars, the vehicles?
The maintenance guy come down here.
You had also an item you wanted on the agenda with him.
The
Discuss-
report,
To get the report from the brakes. Okay, well,
No,
in
no,
other
no, no.
words, that's something that you asked him to do. We're just confirming that, correct?
from the fleet,
Okay, that's all you need
from
to
the
say.
fleet
Okay,
guy.
great.
The
All right,
fleet guy.
good. Okay, that's it.
Move to make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion has been moved to adjourn. Do we have a second? Okay, second by Mr. Hernandez. Mr. Eversol, how do you vote? How do you vote, Mr. Hernandez?
Aye.
Mr. Burton? Okay,
Aye.
great. Thank you.